If I traded it all, if I
Welcome back, everyone. I'm excited about bringing on my next guest. My next guest I've known for 10 years, and he has been on my radio show, my television show, my YouTube show. I don't know what else I'm going to do sometime, but I'm sure you'll be on it. I have with me Michael Pappiani, and he's a language artist. Welcome to the show. Please tell everybody, a little bit about yourself and what a language artist is.
Well, a long time ago I decided that I like to write, but I like to write short, emotional things, which turned out to be towards poetry. And I was a great fan of reading poetry and stuff. And I decided that it needs to come back because poetry is not one of the high things today. It's not one of the big things. There's a lot of people doing it, but there's a lot of argument about exactly what it's supposed to be. And I'm thinking that that it needs to be somebody's emotion, a very heartfelt emotion translated into language, and that language captures that emotion, and then when you make a poster out of it and it's too specific, either a person or something that they care for a lot, it would make a good poster. Rather than having a book on a shelf, you have a poster on the wall, and it can be a poster on the wall. I don't deal with expensive matted in frame and things. No, it's a poster. You put it up on your wall, and you might have a couple of them. That way you can change them.
I think what you do is really neat. I love what you do, and it's really neat. So what have you been up to?
Well, this is the weekend before Easter, and Easter's the time when everybody likes chicks and eggs and baskets and stuff, and they're pretty much happy and stuff like that. So it's a happy time, but then it's also a time where we think of people who are no longer with us. So they would have liked this or they would have liked that, and I don't think people realize enough that people feel about their companions, like animals, like we were talking dogs. This is Dog Day afternoon. It's very coincidental because we wrote this last week.
Isn't that funny how it works like that? That's amazing.
And I just think that there's things you can do that can immortalize and capture the way you felt about that pet companion, because once it passes on, there's an emptiness there. Of course there is. But there's nothing to memorialize it, stuff like that, There's people that bury their pets and stuff like that. That's nice. But see, then you got to go to the cemetery, pet cemetery, something back. If they had a poster to put on their wall that reminded them of their companion, I think that would be good. And I did one of them like, my son had a dog. And I will tell you a story of that thing. And this is how. This is not only about the language art that was written, but why it was written, how it was written, and the design, how it came about. If you don't mind, I'd like to go into that.
I'd love it.
Okay. Now, we'll go back to 1987. My son had a dog. And it lived from 87 to 2002, I think it was, when it contracted parvo. Now, I'm not a person that has pets. I've been living out of a rucksack for the first 23 years of my life, and then I become a teacher and stuff. So we never had my pets. But my son, he had dogs. I mean, he had many dogs. And this particular one, he liked a lot. And he named it Sarge. So
I like that.
Sarge was a really wonderful dog, and he loved it a lot. And then it got parvo. And parvo is a strange disease, which I didn't know nothing about. But what happens, it deteriorates the spine, and it just collapses, and they have to take it down. They have to put it down. So I called my son when it happened, when the dog went down like that, because it was with me coincidentally, and we had just moved into the house. That's very key in this story. We had just had this house built, so the landscaping in the back wasn't finished yet. That turned out to be significant. So he comes over and he takes the dogs to the vet and refuses to leave the dog with the vet. He told the vet, I will hold it while you do it. That's the way it's going to be. And he held it while they put it down. And I admire my son for doing that, because that takes a lot to do it.
I couldn't.
But then he was really upset. Now, my son, you'd have to understand that neither one of my sons, I have two beautiful boys, neither one of them took after me as far as the poetry and the music is concerned. They're both more like my father. He was very hands-on, mechanical, electrician, stuff like that. So he wasn't really big and fond of poetry. But I decided decided to sneak up on him, and I'm saying, I'm going to get my son with a poem that he's going to say, wow, So I said, okay. So what I did is I first designed the artwork for the poem before I wrote the poem. And what had happened is, now Sarge is gone, right? Dead. But out in the backyard, they hadn't finished the landscaping, so there were paw tracks. So I went out and made a square of paw tracks and made a reverse plaster Paris thing. Let me show you the resulting thing. It's easier to think.
Well, we're live on Facebook, so everybody can check it out. Go ahead.
There we go.
I love it. Oh.
Right? Now, I got the paw print out of the ground, so it's Sarge's paw print right there, right?
Awesome.
Right? And name, and then 8702, and I thought this would make kind of a nice thing. And
It's beautiful.
So I did a little research and found out that 15,000 years ago, dogs were first domesticated. And 14,000 years ago, they were actually buried with their owners. When the owner died, they would...
Mine's coming with me.
Like that. Yeah, and it's like the rapport between dogs and humans goes back 15,000 years, 14,000 years. So I thought that was good. So I said, okay, what do you want to do with this? You got the paw print. So I decided to say, okay, first of all, I want Sarge to talk to Joe, not Joe saying, hey, this is what I think of my dog, because we all knew what he thought of, right? But I want to surprise my son, say, this is what Sarge thinks of you. So I wrote this letter first, and that's where the verse of this thing comes in.
Are you going to read it?
I'm going to read it for you.
I love it.
And it's to Joe from Sarge. My son's name is Joe, right? To Joe from Sarge. Believe it or don't, now, I see beyond the right now moment. Now I can clearly understand your good dog love, the way you gave me presents on your holiday of Christmas, the same as you did for those who look more like you. And when I was old and in pain with damaged spine, I couldn't get up. You held me while they did what they had to do. Damnation, I miss you, and I will be waiting, and I will be the first to come to you when you get here. I press my paw to that.
Oh my gosh!
And then I have
I'm almost crying. Everybody in here has there's not a dry eye in the house.
Well, that's where the paw print came in. See, I had the paw print, so I put a little dog there.
And that's awesome. And that's what you do.
Right.
That is what you do.
And actually, I gave the original to my son, who has it,
right.
the actual paw print.
And so people can do that with you? Can they get that from you?
Well, see, what I'm getting at here, Carol, is suppose it happens.
Michael?
We want to make it individual, because dogs have personalities the same as people. So you want to capture the exact personality traits. You don't want to say, I have a poem about a dog who died and you'll like it, here's a copy of it and stuff.
Right.
That's not what I do. I'm saying, I want to know about your dog. I want to know how your dog acted. I want to know what your rapport with that dog was. I want to know some little anecdotes. So I have to do an interview with the person to find out about the dog.
So here's what we're going to do. I see it right here, but I'm going to do it my way. Okay?
Sure.
So we're going to open up the lines for everyone to call in and tell us about your dog. Tell us about your dog, and you're going to get entered in to win. What are they going to get? This is a select photograph, and you're going to create a memorial and a tribute for them. It's a personalized one. So you get to call in to me, and I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. Their dog doesn't have to be passed or down, or do they? Should it be? Or could it be an old dog? Does it have to be?
No.
Just tell me what it means.
No, of course it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a memorial and tribute to a dog's no longer there. It can be a tribute to a dog who's still there.
Right. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if your dog has passed or not. If you just want a tribute to and is it only dog?
I had a big conflict about that, because the last thing we're going to get to is what about cats and stuff, and I have to dedicate a whole program to cats.
So we're going to do cats later. Right now, this is a dog day.
This is a dog day afternoon, Carol.
It is. It's absolutely. I love that. And most of the people here don't even know what that is, but we and I do.
It's sad when you get down there and you say...
It's a dog day afternoon here at Networking Arizona. Call in. It's a tribute to your dog, and it's exclusive to you and your dog. It's specified for just you. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Everyone call in. Tell me what kind of dog you have. We're going to give you a tribute to it. You get entered in to win one. Welcome back. Let me tell you something. I have Michael Pappiani here. Michael and I have known each other for 10 years. You've been coming on my show. You've been at every party I've ever done, you know. And
She gives great parties, man.
well, we do all this. It's always networking here at the station, right?
That's
and
right.
We've had a lot of parties here. But you've been on all of my shows that we've been doing, and I appreciate you so much. But I also want the audience to understand that to appreciate what Michael's doing. And what you said was so great, that these are not signed by you. And I want you to talk a little bit about your poems that you write for other people. You take their words and you listen to their story and you create a poem.
Right. I'm into language, of course, so I call it translations.
Translations.
It's like it's their, it's like energy translation, one form to another. It's like, it's your emotions. You know how you feel about your companion pet. You know the pain of the loss of that pet. I don't. I cannot write a generic poem. This is not like a greeting card company. It's different, you know, because I listen to you and you say, I'm going to find out how you felt about that. I'm going to find out something. And it's little things like, what's something you remember that used to happen all the time? Oh, well, Susie used to chew on the corners of something, and I used to get so angry at, you know, it's things like that.
Right,
but it's the little things that you remember about the companion pet.
And you pick up on it and you create a translation.
And I make it part of the body of the poem. That's where you take the composition and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this story about this animal who used to do this, who had, you know, people that really cared for it so much, and we have to capture that. But all the way through, I'm letting you know, this is your emotion, not mine. This is your poem, not mine.
Right, and so you
I say, you know, it's like translated by Michael Pappiani.
Okay, translated, not just signed, but
not just written by. No,
right.
No, it's like
translated by. That's awesome.
And I think that's important because that gives the personal contact between the person that's getting the poster and the poster itself.
And I have to tell you, Michael does do this for people too. It's not just animals. He does this for people. As a matter of fact, I connected you with Mountain View Funeral Home. You know?
Yes.
And because they've been on my show a lot, and I just thought it was so wonderful. And they also were looking for people who they wanted to do something for pets who had passed. Now, again, these do not have to be a pet that has passed, a dog that has passed. We are talking dogs right now. It could be you want a tribute to your pet, your dog.
Exactly.
And
right.
again, this is a dog day afternoon. We've been saying that today. But so we're going to do cats the next one, right?
Yes, we're going to do a whole
birds
show
the next one, horses the next one. But right now, we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win one of these. We want to hear about your pet, your dog. And it doesn't have to be a dog that's put down. It can be if you want or not. It's just a tribute. So call in here and you're going to get entered in to win one of these. They're beautiful. I want you to know it's a really nice way it's framed. It's beautiful. And I like even the colors, the way that you matched everything, and it's just beautiful. So our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And you also say that they can do a photograph as well. So you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, because, you know, like, especially if you're dealing with one who's passed, you know, you go into a person's house and they got pictures of their children, they got pictures of their grandparents.
You always have pictures of the dogs and your pets.
Sometimes they don't have a picture of the one that passed or something like that. And I'm saying, well, why not? And you say, well, you know, I don't know, photographs.
I have one. It's huge.
Well, I mean, there's people that look at the picture, but it doesn't convey the emotion they felt. So I want to put them together and give them another choice, you know.
And it could be even a new pet if you want. You just want, you're loving it. Everybody
I like celebrating life much more than, you know, than the memorial.
Well, but
I think it should be memorialized, but it should be celebrated. Life should be celebrated while you've got it.
So what information did they have to provide to you?
Well, they let me know that, you know, that they have a pet in a situation they want to do. So I have to set up an interview with them. So I go and go to them and have an interview and ask them all the questions and stuff and get my words together for what will eventually become the body. And then we have like a conversation about, I just want to listen to how they feel about it, and what they say means a lot, because that's when you go back and you say, okay, this is the way I know this person felt about this dog. I think I can translate it into a
And you do that
verse.
over the phone?
Actually, I like a face-to-face interview. You can do an interview over the phone, but you're missing the eye contact, the body language, and all that. No.
So it's better to meet them somewhere.
It's better to meet them face-to-face, because you talk with your whole body. You don't just talk with your voice. And every interrogator knows that. There's my former existence there.
I have to tell you, though, this is what makes Michael different, you see, is that he really captures your essence of what you feel.
Right, and sometimes somebody will say something, and the look on their face, I know there's more to it, but I would have missed it on the phone.
Right.
But I'm saying, oh, no, wait a minute, let's go back there. What was that? And then they might even start crying and tell me about this wonderful thing that happened between them and their, the companion pet and stuff. And I want to capture this, and I want them to be able to display it so that when people come to their house, they know that that there is a tribute and a memorial, or a tribute or a memorial for a companion pet.
So I'm going to let you read this again, because
Yes.
a lot of people would love to hear this again. We've got our lines open here for everyone to get. It's a memorial or it is a tribute to your dog, and our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I had a cocker, and his name was Tanner. So I can start with me. Everybody else, keep on calling here, and I'm going to let everyone call in throughout the rest of the show. Again, it doesn't have to be a dog that is gone. It could be someone that you just want to just have a tribute to, and you just want something special for them on your wall. 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. What is that website again that you said? It's artofpoems.com.
.com, right.
That's the best one. Artofpoems.com. I like that one the best.
Yes.
Okay. So let's read it again.
Okay. Before I read it, I want to tell you one thing about the reaction my son had. Like, my son is not into poetry at all.
What about his reaction? This is awesome.
He looked up at me and said, see if I can capture the feeling here, right? He said, yeah, great, Dad. Finally a poem I'll read. And that's what he said. And I said, and what the heck? That's the best I'm going to get, and I think I love it, and I love my son. And he actually overcame that I don't read poetry type of stuff to saying that's pretty good. Yeah. And I was honored to hear that.
That's neat.
Good.
So let's rehear it.
Okay. So once more, the message to Joe from Sarge. Believe it or don't, now I see beyond the right now moment. Now I can clearly understand your good dog love. The way you gave me presents on your holiday of Christmas, the same as you did for those who look more like you. And when I was old and in pain with damaged spine, I couldn't get up. You held me while they did what they had to do. Damnation, I miss you. And I will be waiting, and I'll be the first to come to you when you get here. I press my paw to that.
I love it. I love that. Again, our number here, everyone's getting entered in to win a tribute for your dog. The number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. My social media gal has just completely lost it. She's crying here. She's a dog lover, and I know that you... So everyone's getting entered in to win. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. He meets with people anywhere. All you have to do is talk to him. Go check him out. Check out Michael on his website. It's artofpoems.com. You do this, obviously, I've got to tell you about Michael. He does do it for anyone. You do this for people. You do this. You have seen a lot of the different things. Anyone in your life that you want. What a great gift, everybody. Hey, this is May is coming up. So
Yes,
I
so
guess
we've got
Mother's Day
Mother's Day.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to give to your mommy or your daddy or to yourself or to, anyone that has their pet and just would like to give them something special?
In June, Father's Day, because, Mother's Day, people think of flower and roses. Father's Day usually don't. But I wrote a poem to my father that I'm going to bring in June. And you guys be on the station and listen, because you're going to hear what a poem to a really strong, non-poetry reading man would be, because my father didn't like poetry either. So what can I say? But I wrote a poem for him that will make you cry completely.
Oh, my God. Well, you're doing a good job today with a lot of the people. Again, we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win a tribute poem for your dog or for anyone that you know. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. This is awesome. I love what you do. I love you. I do. I love you. And I thank you for being here. And, excuse me, you can check him out on his website. I'm crying. It is artofpoems.com.